I begged my husband for 3 years before he finally brought me to Paris for our honeymoon. Just after stepping off the plane, a strange woman rushed up and slapped me across the face. "You shameless mistress." My husband pulled me back. "Don't make things hard for her. Yunan hasn't met you. She thought you were the other woman." The onlookers waited to watch me become a laughingstock. I took off my high heels, and one move left the entire crowd stunned. When the plane landed in Paris, I was still immersed in a sense of touching sentiment. For 3 years from the day we married, I had been nagging Chen Ming-sen about wanting a honeymoon in Paris. He always said he was busy, waiting for a project to go live, waiting for the company to go public, waiting for the board reshuffle. That wait lasted 3 years. "Miu Miu, let's have a great time this trip and make up for everything I owe you." Before boarding, he had his arm around my waist and posted a photo of our tickets on social media with the caption, "Fulfilling my wife's 3-year dream." I believed him. The arrival hall at Charles de Gaulle Airport was crowded. I was pushing the luggage cart while Chen Ming-sen was taking a call. He'd had a lot of calls lately. Every time, he would step away a few paces and lower his voice. I assumed it was company business and didn't think much of it. Then someone rushed over, a woman in a khaki trench coat, stepping in stiletto heels that made a thumping sound as she ran. Before I could even see her face, a slap landed on my right cheek. Slap. The entire arrival hall seemed to go silent. "You shameless mistress, seducing someone else's husband," the woman screeched, her voice sharp enough to pierce eardrums. I covered my face, dazed, my head buzzing. Who was this? What mistress? A few Chinese tourists nearby stopped to watch the scene, some holding up phones to film. The French ground staff ran over to separate us, but the woman was incredibly strong, clutching my collar and refusing to let go. "Yunan," Chen Ming-sen rushed over. I thought he was coming to protect me. Instead, he grabbed my hand and said to the woman, "Yunan, you've misunderstood. This is my wife, Shen Mu." I waited for him to make the woman apologize. What I got instead was him turning to me. "Miu Miu, don't make it hard for her. Yunan hasn't met you. She just returned to the country and didn't know we were married. She thought you were the mistress." I looked at him in utter disbelief. My husband, after I had just been slapped by a stranger, was telling me not to make things hard for her. "Chen Ming-sen, what did you just say?" "Miu Miu, listen to me. Yunan is my childhood friend. We grew up together. She's been studying abroad and just got back. She didn't know I had a wife." His tone carried a plea, but he wasn't begging for my forgiveness. He was begging for my cooperation. I stared into his eyes. For the first time in 3 years, I looked closely at those eyes. I used to think they were gentle. Now I saw nothing but calculation. "Make her apologize," I said. "Miu Miu," I said, "make her apologize." The woman named Yunan let out a cold laugh. "Make me apologize? Are you even worthy? I've known Ming-sen for over 20 years. What are you? Who knows if you just clung to him because he has money?" She raised her hand again, but this time I reacted. I grabbed her wrist and simultaneously let go of the luggage cart. The cart toppled over, hitting the floor with a loud crash. "Are you addicted to hitting me or something?" We stood face to face, less than half a meter apart. I finally saw her face clearly. My heart suddenly constricted. Lin Yunan. That name struck my brain like a bolt of lightning. 3 years ago, that rainy night on that winding mountain road, a white Porsche was driving the wrong way toward me. I jerked the steering wheel, and the car flipped over the guardrail. Before losing consciousness, I saw that Porsche stop on the mountain road. A woman got out, took one look, then got back in and sped away. It was this face. Memories came flooding back like an opened sluice gate. "My name is Shen Mu. I am the youngest winner of the Pritzker Architecture Prize. My design, the Cloud Tower, won a gold medal in an international competition. The Muse architecture firm I founded is ranked among the top 3 in the country." 3 years ago, Chen Ming-sen was just a small-time real estate developer who begged to collaborate with me, calling me Professor Shin at every turn and waiting on me hand and foot. I agreed to work with him and helped him secure his first landmark project. Then I had the car accident. Then he appeared in the hospital, guarding me every day, claiming he was my boyfriend, saying we had been dating for 3 years, and that I had promised to marry him as soon as I was discharged. I believed him, because I truly remembered nothing. "Shen Mu, let go of me." Lin Yunan struggled. I didn't let go. I looked at her, then at the nervous Chen Ming-sen beside her. "For 3 years, the two of you have been acting." "Chen Ming-sen," I called his name. "Miu Miu. Calm down, let's talk once we get to the hotel. I have one question for you." "Ask, just ask." "What is her name?" "Lin Yunan, my childhood friend. There's really nothing between us." I smiled. I released Lin Yunan's hand and slowly bent down. The onlookers thought I was picking up my luggage. Those filming with their phones even moved their lenses closer. I took off my right high heel. These weren't ordinary heels, they were custom-made 3 years ago with a miniature GPS tracker installed in the heel. Back then I was often at construction sites and drove alone at night. My father was worried and insisted I install it. After the accident, these shoes remained, and I wore them when I married Chen Ming-sen. I brought the heel to my lips and spoke into the small hole. Lin Yunan, 3 years ago when you hit me with your car, I installed this tracker on you. You didn't know, did you? Lin Yunan's face changed. Chen Ming-sen, you thought I had amnesia, didn't you? I turned the heel toward him. Do you want me to play the chat logs between the two of you from the last 3 years for everyone right now? Chen Ming-sen's face turned deathly pale in an instant. I pulled my phone from my bag, unlocked it and tapped a folder. Mew Mew. He rushed forward trying to grab it. I took a step back, my finger hovering over the screen. I'm asking one last time, which of you is going to confess first? Chen Ming-sen stood still. Lin Yunan took a step back. The crowd grew larger. The French ground staff squeezed in to ask if they needed to call the police. I said in French, no need, it's a family matter. Chen Ming-sen glanced at me, a flash of surprise in his eyes. He didn't know I spoke French. There was a lot he didn't know. Let's go, get in the car first. He grabbed the luggage, wanting to leave. Wait, I pointed at Lin Yunan. Is she coming with us? Lin Yunan looked at me defiantly. What, are you scared? I ignored her and looked at Chen Ming-sen. Chen Ming-sen avoided my gaze. Yunan just got back and has nowhere to stay. I'm letting her stay at the hotel with us. She'll move out as soon as she finds a place. She's coming on our honeymoon. Mew Mew, don't be so petty. Fine. I interrupted him. Let's go. I pushed the luggage cart toward the exit. Chen Ming-sen and Lin Yunan followed behind. I heard Lin Yunan whisper, did she remember? Chen Ming-sen said, impossible. The doctor said that kind of amnesia is very hard to recover from. I gripped the handle of the luggage cart. The doctor was right, but that slap just now jarred the blood clot in my brain loose. It must be fate. Outside the airport sat a black Mercedes. The driver held a sign that read Mr. Chen. Chen Ming-sen handed the luggage to the driver and got into the front passenger seat. Lin Yunan and I sat in the back. As soon as she got in, she took out her phone to take photos and posted to her social media with the caption, arrived in Paris. Someone is treating me to a stay at the Four Seasons. I caught a glimpse. Her phone case was Hermes, the latest model. Her location tag already showed Charles de Gaulle Airport. 3 years ago she drove a Porsche, now she uses Hermes, all provided by Chen Ming-sen. I presume the car drove to Avenue George V and stopped in front of the Four Seasons Hotel. The doorman opened the door, and Chen Ming-sen went to check in. I sat on the lobby sofa and waited. Lin Yunan stood by the front desk, chatting and laughing with Chen Ming-sen. She leaned in to look at the computer screen, then suddenly said loudly, oh my, why is there only one king-size bed? Chen Ming-sen looked back at me and said something to the receptionist. I waited. After a few minutes he walked over holding 2 key cards. Mew Mew, the hotel is full today. There's only one room with a king bed left. I looked at him without saying a word. How about this, you and Yunan sleep in the bed and I'll take the sofa bed. Why should I sleep with your wife? Lin Yunan snapped, I don't care, I want my own bed. Chen Ming-sen looked at me helplessly. I put my bag down, stood up and walked toward the front desk. The receptionist was a young French man with curly brown hair, quite handsome. Seeing me approach, he gave a professional smile. May I help you, madam? I didn't speak. I pulled a card from my bag and handed it to him. It was black, with no bank branding, only a gold-embossed Four Seasons logo and a line of text. Owner. The young man's expression changed. He took the card with both hands, examined it carefully, then looked up at me, his eyes wide. Madam Shen. I nodded. He immediately stepped out from behind the counter and bowed 90 degrees. I didn't know you were visiting in person. I will notify the general manager immediately. No need, I said. Just open a room for me. Of course, the presidential suite on the top floor is vacant. I'll arrange it right away. Chen Ming-sen walked over. Mew Mew, where did you get that card? I ignored him. Lin Yunan followed as well, staring at the black card. Her face paled. Shen Mu, that card is fake, isn't it? Only about 100 people in the world have a Four Seasons owner's card. Hearing this, the French young man turned around and said in English with a French accent, Miss, this card is authentic. Madam Shen is a distinguished owner of our hotel. Her assets include this hotel and 6 other Four Seasons properties. The room went silent. Several Chinese tourists in the lobby heard this and turned to stare. The young man handed me a gold keycard with both hands. The presidential suite on the top floor. I wish you a pleasant stay. I took the card and turned to look at Chen Ming-sen. The two of you can stay in the room with the king bed. I picked up my bag and headed for the elevator. Mew mew. Chen Ming-sen chased after me, lowering his voice. When did you buy all this? We've been married for 3 years. How could I not know? I pressed the elevator button. There's a lot you don't know. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside. Just as the doors were closing, I saw Lin Yunan standing there, staring at the gold keycard in my hand, her face looking as if she had been slapped. The elevator ascended. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. 3 years. I gave the most brilliant 3 years of my life to this man. With a ding, the elevator reached the top floor. The doors slid open to reveal a middle-aged man in a suit standing in the hallway. It was the hotel's general manager. 2 attendants stood behind him. Madam Shen, welcome back, the manager said in fluent Mandarin. Your last stay was 3 years ago and we haven't seen you since. We all assumed you had retired. 3 years ago, before the accident. What was I in Paris for last time? You were here for the architecture biennale. You won the gold medal that night. You held a celebration gala right here. Mr. Johnson attended as well. Johnson, the name hit me like a beam of light. A world-renowned master architect and my mentor. He was the one who came up with the name Muse. He said my designs had a soul, like a goddess of inspiration. My phone chimed. I looked down. It was a text from Chen Ming-sen. Mew mew, I was wrong. I'll take you out to buy a bag tomorrow, okay? Don't be mad anymore. I stared at the message. Buying a bag. For the past 3 years, every time he upset me, his solution was always to buy me a bag. I used to think that was love. Only now did I realize he was just placating a fool. I sent a one-word reply. Fine. Then I dialed a different number. It rang for a long time before a gravelly but powerful voice answered in French. Who is this? Professor, it's me. There was a 3-second silence on the other end. Muse, it's me. My God, where have you been these last 3 years? Everyone has been looking for you. That phone of yours was always disconnected. Professor, I need you to do me a favor. Name it. The architecture biennale opens tomorrow. I want to speak on stage. The next morning, I was awakened by a knock at the door. Opening it, I found Chen Ming-sen standing there with a breakfast tray, a pandering smile plastered on his face. Mew mew, I brought you breakfast. I took the tray and started to close the door. Wait, he blocked the door with his hand. Mew mew, let's talk. About what? Last night was my fault. I shouldn't have let Yunan tag along, but she really is my childhood friend. We grew up together. She has nowhere to stay right now and I can't just turn my back on her. So you let her stay in the room next to ours. It's only for a few days. She'll move out as soon as she finds a place. He looked at me intently. Mew mew, we've been married for 3 years. Do you really trust me that little? I stared at him. He had been using that line for 3 years. Every time I suspected him with another woman, he'd claim I didn't trust him. Eventually, I learned to stop doubting. I learned to be the sensible wife. Fine, I trust you, I said. Let her stay. Chen Ming-sen blinked, clearly caught off guard by how easy I was being. Then what's your plan for today? I have to head to the biennale venue this morning. I'm giving a speech. Yunan mentioned she wanted to go shopping on the Champs Elysees. Why don't you go with her? I looked into his eyes. He wanted me to go with Lin Yunan. Okay, he looked even more surprised, but the smile returned to his face. Then it's settled. I'll have the driver drop you both off. After breakfast, I changed and headed downstairs. Lin Yunan was already waiting in the lobby, decked out in the latest Dior, carrying a limited edition Chanel bag with her sunglasses perched on her head. She spared me a glance from over her shades. Shenmu, that outfit, is that Uniqlo? I looked down at myself. White t-shirt, jeans and canvas sneakers. Yes. She let out a scoff and said nothing more. The car arrived, the same Mercedes from yesterday. We dropped Chen Ming-sen off at the biennale venue first, then headed to the Champs Elysees. On the way, Lin Yunan's phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages. She smirked as she typed, occasionally casting a side eye at me. I simply looked out the window. The Champs Elysees was packed. The driver dropped us in front of the Louis Vuitton flagship store. Lin Yunan made a beeline for the entrance and I followed. A clerk greeted us. Lin Yunan asked to see the new arrivals in French. Her accent was thick, but the clerk politely led her to the second floor. I wandered around the first floor and spotted a silk scarf I liked. A sales associate, a French girl with a warm smile, approached and asked if I'd like to try it on. I agreed and draped the scarf around my neck. Then I went to pay. "I'm sorry, madam, but this card has been declined." I frowned and handed her a different one. "This one is also declined." I pulled out every card in my wallet, 5 in total. The clerk swiped them one by one, shaking her head each time. "My apologies, madam, none of these cards are working." I didn't realize Lin Yunan had come back downstairs until I heard her voice behind me. "Oh dear, Shenmu, are your cards frozen? Did Ming Sen cut you off?" She giggled, covering her mouth. "Don't blame him, his company has been having some cash flow issues lately. It's normal to freeze a few supplementary cards. I'm using his primary card, so I'm fine." She pulled a black card from her purse and handed it to the clerk. "Those bags I saw upstairs, and that dress, I'll take them all." The clerk took the card, processed the payment quickly, and handed her the shopping bags. Lin Yunan, laden with bags, leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Shenmu, look at you, you're just a brain-dead amnesiac. Why are you still clinging to Ming Sen? He loves me. We were already together 3 years ago before your accident. Do you know why he married you? For your design blueprints. Now that he has them all, do you really think he still wants you?" I looked at her calmly. "Are you finished?" She took a step back. "Don't you try anything, we're in France." I reached into my bag and pulled out a ring, my wedding ring. The 1-carat diamond Chen Ming Sen had placed on my finger 3 years ago. He told me back then that he'd upgrade it to a bigger one once he made more money. I took it off and handed it to the clerk. "Do you do buybacks?" The clerk examined it and nodded. "Yes, for a second-hand buyback we can offer 8,000 euros. Deal, 8,000 euros in cash." The clerk went to the back to get the money. Lin Yunan's eyes went wide. "Are you insane? That's your wedding ring. It's just a fake anyway." I said, "The main stone is lab-grown. It's worth maybe 5,000 yuan at most, 8,000 euros. I'm making a profit." Lin Yunan stood there, mouth agape, speechless. Once the 8,000 euros were handed to me, I tucked the cash into my bag and walked out the door. Just as I stepped out, I nearly collided with an old man. He was in his 70s, with a head of white hair, dressed casually and wearing round-rimmed glasses. He froze when he saw me, then grabbed my arm. "Muse." It was Johnson. "Professor," I said in French, "it's been a long time. Good God, it really is you. I thought I was dreaming when I got your call yesterday." He scanned me from head to toe. "Where have you been for 3 years? Why are you dressed like this? Do you have any idea how many people have been looking for you?" Lin Yunan stepped out of the store and her eyes lit up when she saw Johnson. "You must be Mr. Johnson," she said in English, her voice sickeningly sweet. "I'm Lin Yunan. My father is the chairman of the Lin Group. We met at a charity gala last year." Johnson gave her a flat look. "I don't know you." Lin Yunan's face went stiff. "Professor," I said, "do you have a moment? I'd like to talk." "Of course, come, let's go have a coffee across the street." I walked away with Johnson, leaving Lin Yunan standing there alone. We found a window seat in a cafe across the street. Johnson stared at me, his expression a mix of emotions. "Muse, tell me, what on earth happened over these 3 years?" I looked out the window. Lin Yunan was still standing in front of the LV store, making a call and looking highly agitated. "Professor, I was set up." "What do you mean?" "I was in a car accident 3 years ago and had amnesia. Someone kept me like a fool for 3 years and stole all my designs." Johnson's eyes nearly popped out. "Who?" I brought my gaze back to his. "Chen Ming Sen, the man giving the speech at the Biennale today." Johnson surged to his feet. "That plagiarizing hack. I knew his style looked exactly like yours, so he actually—" "Professor, I need your help. Tell me what to do. I'm going to ruin him publicly." At 3:00 p.m., the first session of the Biennale Forum concluded. Chen Mingsen's speech had been a success, at least he thought so. He sent me a message asking where I was, saying he wanted to take me to a Michelin-starred restaurant. I didn't reply. He met up with Lin Yunan at another shop on the Champs-Élysées. I stood across the street, watching them walk hand in hand into the Hermes flagship store. They emerged 15 minutes later, Lin Yunan clutching an orange shopping bag. Chen Ming Sen had his arm around her waist and she leaned in to kiss his cheek. I took out my phone and snapped a photo, then I turned and walked toward another street. Johnson had made an appointment for me at 3:30 p.m. at another luxury boutique on the Champs-Élysées, not to shop, but to meet someone. The shop sat on a corner. The storefront was modest, but the window displays featured strictly limited edition pieces. I pushed the door open, and a clerk immediately approached me. "Madam Shen, please follow me." She led me through the store to a VIP room in the back. A woman in her 40s sat on the sofa wearing a Chanel suit and gold-rimmed glasses. Shenmu, it's been a long time. I looked at her. Sister Ju. Ju Yun was the largest individual shareholder of Chen's real estate, holding a 15% stake. I had met her a few times 3 years ago when she was interested in investing in my firm. Johnson called me and said it was urgent. She set down her coffee cup. What's going on? I sat down on the sofa opposite her. Sister Ju, do you know where I've been for the last 3 years? I know you got married to Chen Ming-sen. Do you know why I married him? She studied me for a few seconds. I heard you were in a car accident and lost your memory. He took care of you in the hospital and then you too, then we got together. I finished for her. Sister Ju, do you remember the partnership contract I was about to sign with the Chen family 3 years ago? Ju Yun nodded. I remember you were in charge of design, Chen's handled construction, and profits were split 50-50. That contract was what saved the Chen family. Was that contract ever signed? It was. Ju Yun frowned. You didn't know. I didn't, I said. Sister Ju, if I told you that Chen Ming-sen used these 3 years of my amnesia to claim all my designs as his own, would you believe me? Ju Yun was silent for a long time. I would. This time it was my turn to be surprised. Why? Because the design style of the Chen family these past 3 years, it looks too much like yours, Ju Yun said. I suspected it long ago, but Chen Ming-sen claimed they were the original work of his team, and I had no proof. Plus, since you never showed up, I assumed you had retired. She pulled her phone from her bag, swiped to a photo and handed it to me. Look at this. The photo showed a contract, specifically the signature page, my signature, but I had no memory of it. This is the exclusive design agreement you allegedly signed with the Chen family 3 years ago with a 10-year term. Because of your signature, Chen Ming-sen used this contract to claim ownership of every design you made over the last 3 years. I looked at the signature, it was my handwriting, but that was not my hand. Sister Ju, this contract is a forgery, I never signed it. Ju Yun looked at me with a complicated expression. If it's a forgery, do you have proof? I took my phone from my bag and opened an encrypted folder. I do. Inside were all the chat logs between Chen Ming-sen and Lin Yunan over the last 3 years. From the day of my accident until last night. I handed the phone to Ju Yun. Her face grew paler with every screen she swiped through. This, Sister Ju, how much have you invested in the Chen family? 300 million. Do you want it back? She handed the phone back to me and took a deep breath. What's the plan? I need your help to call an emergency board meeting. Ju Yun studied me for a long while, then smiled. Shenmu, you're still the same Shenmu from 3 years ago. She stood up and extended her hand. Deal. I took her hand. Just then, the door to the VIP room was pushed open. Lin Yunan stood in the doorway with Chen Ming-sen right behind her. Both of them froze. Shenmu. What are you doing here? Lin Yunan stared at me, then looked at Ju Yun. Director Ju. Chen Ming-sen's expression shifted. Sister Ju, you too, Mr. Chen, what a coincidence. Ju Yun said with a professional smile. Shenmu and I are old friends, we just ran into each other and decided to catch up. Chen Ming-sen looked at me, his eyes full of scrutiny. Miu Miu, why haven't you been answering your phone? I've been looking everywhere for you. I looked him straight in the eye. My phone was on silent. Let's go, let's get dinner. He walked over and tried to grab my hand. Sister Ju, care to join us? Ju Yun shook her head. I have things to take care of, you guys go ahead. Chen Ming-sen pulled me toward the exit, with Lin Yunan trailing behind. Once we were out of the store, Chen Ming-sen lowered his voice. Miu Miu, what were you and Ju Yun talking about? Nothing much, she just asked how I've been lately. How do you even know her? I thought for a moment. I don't remember. Chen Ming-sen let out a long breath of relief. I didn't look back, but I could feel his gaze burning into my back. Dinner was at a 3-Michelin-star restaurant. Chen Ming-sen ordered a 20,000 euro bottle of red wine, and Lin Yunan spent the whole time taking photos of it. I didn't take a single sip. Miu Miu, why aren't you drinking? Chen Ming-sen asked. I have a headache. Then let's get you back early to rest. Lin Yunan smirked from the side. Shenmu, you're not just worried about the price tag, are you? Ming-sen is loaded now, 1 bottle of wine is nothing to him. I looked at her. Right, he has plenty of money, money to buy you bags and money to freeze my cards. Chen Ming-sen's face darkened. Miu Miu, I was actually going to talk to you about the cards. The company's been facing a bit of a cash crunch lately. Since yours are supplementary cards, I was afraid you'd overspend, so I froze them temporarily. When we get back, no need to explain. I cut him off. I understand. Chen Ming-sen was stunned, so was Lin Yun, and I picked up my bag and stood up. I'm going to the restroom. The restroom was at the end of the hallway, very quiet. I stood before the vanity, looking at my reflection in the mirror. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Ju Yoon. The board meeting is set for the day after tomorrow, 10:00 a.m. Paris time, via video conference. I replied, copy that. Another message came in from an unknown number. Muse, I am a board member of the French Architects Association, regarding the plagiarism allegations against Chen Ming-sen. We require your original design manuscripts. I sent over a link to a cloud drive. Everything is in there. After sending the message, I tucked my phone back into my bag, straightened my hair, and walked out. In the hallway, Chen Ming-sen and Lin Yunan were standing around a corner. They were kissing. I stood perfectly still, watching them. Chen Ming-sen saw me first and shoved Lin Yunan away abruptly. Mew mew, I walked past him without stopping. We're going back home tomorrow. Chen Ming-sen chased after me. Mew mew, let me explain, she was the one who started it. I've had too much to drink. I stopped at the elevator and turned to face him. Chen Ming-sen, do you know what I photographed this afternoon while I was across the street from Hermes? His face went white. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside. As the doors closed, I saw the smug look vanish from Lin Yunan's face. She had no idea the real show was just beginning. The next morning, I received an email from the French Architects Association. The investigation was officially open. They had reviewed my original manuscripts and compared them to Chen Ming-sen's work from the last 3 years. They discovered that at least 12 landmark projects were blatant cases of plagiarism. The timestamps were undeniable. My sketches predated every single one of Chen's projects by more than 2 years. The association decided to formally announce the investigation results at the Biennale's closing forum that afternoon. I sent a reply, I need a chance to speak on stage. 10 minutes later, Johnson called. Muse, they've agreed this afternoon you'll be speaking as a special guest. Thank you, Professor. Don't thank me. Johnson's voice sounded heavy. Do you have any idea the French architectural world is in an absolute uproar? People were already whispering about plagiarism during Chen Ming-sen's speech yesterday. He even tried to invite some association members to lunch this morning to fix things. And they didn't show. Johnson chuckled. Muse, he has no idea of your standing in this industry. But we haven't forgotten the youngest Pritzker winner. Does he not realize what the name Muse carries in this circle? I hung up and looked out at the Eiffel Tower. This afternoon, everything would end this afternoon at noon. Chen Ming-sen knocked on my door. Mew mew, come to the forum with me this afternoon. I looked at him. Don't you have a speech? The speech is over. This afternoon is the closing ceremony and the awards. He had that pandering smile on again. You're my wife, come and stand with me. When I collect the award, I smiled back. Okay, he blinked, probably surprised by my ready compliance. So, maybe change into something a bit more formal. I looked down at myself, still in a t-shirt and jeans. I didn't bring any other clothes. That's fine, I'll have Yunan pick something out for you. I looked into his eyes. You want Lin Yunan to pick out my clothes? She has great taste. Just listen to her. He realized he'd overstepped and quickly corrected himself. I mean, you're both women, she knows. What would suit you? I said nothing. At 2:00 p.m. Lin Yunan arrived at my door with a dress. It was red with a deep V neckline and a completely open back. Put it on, she said, tossing the dress at me. It matches that face of yours perfectly. I picked it up and looked at it. Are you sure? What? Afraid to wear it? Without a word, I changed into it right in front of her. The dress fit, but it was far too revealing. In the mirror, my entire back was exposed and the V-neck plunged down to my waist. Lin Yunan watched me with her arms crossed, her eyes full of triumph. Not bad, Shenmu, you've actually got some curves. Let's go, the car is downstairs. She turned to leave. Wait, she looked back from the doorway. What now? I'm changing. Her face fell. What the hell do you mean? This doesn't suit me. I opened the closet to reveal several sets of clothes delivered by the hotel yesterday. I pulled out a black suit and a white shirt. Lin Yunan scoffed. A suit? You're wearing a suit to an award ceremony? Yes. I put on the suit, tied my hair back, and adjusted my collar in the mirror. Lin Yunan stood behind me, the smirk on her face slowly freezing. There are some clothes that not just anyone can pull off. The suit was impeccably tailored, making me look sharp and commanding. The woman in the mirror was the exact same Shenmu who had stood on that podium 3 years ago. Let's go. I grabbed my bag and walked past her. The entrance to the convention center was lined with cars. This was the closing ceremony and every big name in the architectural world was in attendance. Chen Ming-sen was waiting for me at the entrance. He froze when he saw me in the suit. Mew Mew, you. What? Nothing, you look good. He reached out to take my hand. Come on, our seats are in the front. I didn't let him take my hand. I just walked in on my own. The venue was massive, seating 2,000 people, and it was nearly full. Chen Mingsen's seat was in the front row, flanked by 2 empty spots, one for me and one for Lin Yunan. I sat down. Chen Ming-sen was to my left and Lin Yunan was to my right. Awards were being handed out on stage, one project after another. Chen Ming-sen was fidgeting, constantly checking his phone. What's wrong? I asked. Nothing, just waiting for some news. The news never came. After the last award was presented, the host took the stage. Next, please welcome the president of the French Architects Association, Mr. Pierre, to the stage. An elderly man with silver hair walked up, holding an envelope. Before we conclude, I have an important announcement to make. The room went silent. Recently, the association received a report alleging serious plagiarism regarding entries in this year's biennale. After an investigation, we have found these allegations to be true. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd. The accused are all projects submitted by the Chinese Chen's real estate group. Chen Ming-sen bolted upright. These works are highly identical to the original designs of Pritzker winner Madame Muse. We have conclusive evidence that Madame Muse's original design manuscripts predate all of Chen's projects by more than 2 years. Every eye in the room turned, not toward Chen Ming-sen but toward me. People were starting to recognize me. Muse, it's Muse. What is she doing there? Isn't that man next to her from the Chen family? Chen Ming-sen's face was as white as a sheet of paper. Mew Mew. I didn't look at him, Mr. Pierre continued. Per association regulations, we have decided to disqualify all entries from Chen's real estate and initiate industry ban procedures. Furthermore, we invite Madame Muse to the stage to issue a statement. I stood up. Lin Yunan stood up too, grabbing my arm. Shen Mu, are you crazy? You're going to destroy Ming-sen. I looked down at her hand. Let go. No, if you go up there today, you'll what? She glared at me, her eyes bloodshot. I'll tell everyone everything. You think you're clean, those contracts you signed, the money you took. Lin Yunan. Chen Ming-sen hissed. Shut up. She shook off his hand. Why should I shut up? She's going to ruin us. She's going to let everyone know. I said, shut up. Chen Ming-sen's voice went cold. Lin Yunan froze. I gave them one last look and walked toward the stage. 2,000 pairs of eyes followed me every step of the way. In the center of the stage, I turned around. The hall was dead quiet. I am Shen Mu, known professionally as Muse. My voice echoed through the microphones. 3 years ago, I was in a car accident and suffered from amnesia. For 3 years, during this time, Chen Ming-sen, acting as my husband, usurped all of my design work. Chen Ming-sen stood up to speak but was held back by security. These works were all completed by me between 2019 and 2021. I have the complete original manuscripts, the copyright registrations and the notary archives. I pressed a remote and the massive screen behind me lit up. Manuscripts flashed across the screen one by one, each with a timestamp, each predating Chen's projects by at least 2 years. Chen Ming-sen, is there anything you'd like to say? The eyes of 2,000 people snapped toward him in unison. Chen Ming-sen stood there looking like a dead man walking. Lin Yunan kept her head down, her thoughts unknown. Plagiarism, fraud, get out. Shouts began to erupt from the audience. Security approached Chen Ming-sen and asked him to leave. Before he left, he looked back at me with a complex expression. Shen Mu, when did you remember? I looked into his eyes. That slap at the airport. He froze. Then he looked at Lin Yunan. She was hanging her head, her shoulders shaking. As security led them both out of the hall, the doors swung shut, and applause erupted. It started with a few people, then spread until all 2,000 people were on their feet, cheering. Mr. Pierre walked over and took my hand. Welcome back, Muse. I looked out at the faces in the crowd. 3 years ago, I stood in this very spot and accepted that award. Back then, I thought the road ahead would be smooth. I didn't know that what awaited me was a car accident and a man who had calculated every move. But now I am back. By the time I left the convention center, it was dark. My phone was blowing up. Domestic media, French media, industry colleagues, and Chen Ming-sen. He had called 23 times. I didn't answer a single one. A message from Ju Yun came through. board meeting tomorrow at 10:00 a.m. Paris time. Chen Mingsen will be attending, I replied. Copy that. A black sedan was waiting in front of the hotel. Chen Mingsen was standing by the car. As soon as he saw me, he rushed over. Miu Miu, we need to talk. I walked past him toward the entrance. He chased after me. Shenmu, listen to me. I stopped and turned around. Say what? He choked on his words. That you were forced, that this was all Lin Yunan's idea, that you love me. I looked him dead in the eye. Chen Mingsen, do you even love me? His mouth hung open, but no words came out. What you love are my designs. When I had that accident, you thought I was broken, perfect. You took me home to keep me like a pet, waiting until you'd squeezed every last drop of talent out of my sketches before kicking me to the curb. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Once again he was speechless. I let out a dry laugh. Chen Mingsen, do you know why I lost my memory for 3 years? He stared at me. Because of that crash. And do you know who planned it? His expression shifted instantly. Lin Yunan, your childhood friend, the woman you've loved for all these years. She was the one behind the wheel 3 years ago. She didn't want me dead, she just wanted me to forget, because as long as I had amnesia, all those blueprints belonged to you. Miu Miu, you told her to do it. As I said those words, every last drop of color drained from his face. You didn't say it directly, but you gave her the hint. If I disappeared, the Chen family could claim my designs, turn the company around and go public. She loves you. She was willing to do anything for you. Chen Mingsen took a step back. Miu Miu, I really didn't know about this. You didn't know. I pulled my phone from my bag and played a recording. It was Lin Yunan's voice, a snippet from a voice message she'd sent last night. Shenmu, listen up. That accident 3 years ago, Mingsen made me do it. He told me himself that if you lost your memory, those blueprints would be his. If you dare sue me, I'm dragging him down with me. Chen Mingsen looked like a ghost. She's lying, is she? I tucked my phone away. You can settle that with her at the board meeting tomorrow. I turned and walked back into the hotel. The next morning at 9:50 a.m. I arrived at the Law Society building. The conference room Ju Yun had booked was on the 12th floor, and the video equipment was already set up. Back home, every member of Chen's real estate board was online. At exactly 10 o'clock, Chen Mingsen pushed the door open. 2 people followed him, a middle-aged man in a sharp suit, his lawyer, and Lin Yunan. I saw her, but I said nothing. She didn't look at me either. Everyone's here, Ju Yun said from the head of the table. Let's begin. She pressed a remote and the large screen on the wall lit up. On the other side, 7 or 8 people were sitting in the Chen family's boardroom. There is only one item on today's agenda, Ju Yun announced, the design copyright dispute between Chen's real estate and Madame Shenmu. Chen Mingsen's lawyer stood up. Director Ju, this matter is irrelevant to the board. Copyright is a personal matter between Mr. Chen and Madame Shen. It shouldn't be discussed here. Is that so? Ju Yun looked at the screen. To the board members, do you think this is irrelevant? A middle-aged man on the screen spoke up. Mr. Chen, every core project Chen's real estate has handled in the last 3 years was Madame Shen's design. If these are ruled as plagiarism, do you have any idea what the consequences will be for this company? Chen Mingsen's face turned a bruised shade of purple. The consequences, Ju Yun answered for him, are that every landmark project under Chen's will be halted. Completed projects will face litigation. A conservative estimate for damages starts at 1 billion yuan. The room went deathly quiet. 1 billion, Ju Yun said, looking at Chen Mingsen. Mr. Chen, what is the net asset value of this company right now? Chen Mingsen remained silent. 1.5 billion. Ju Yun replied, in other words, if Madame Shen sues, Chen's real estate is bankrupt. The board members on the screen began whispering urgently to one another. So today, Ju Yun continued, we aren't just discussing a copyright dispute, we are discussing Mr. Chen's future, or lack thereof, with this company. Chen Mingsen bolted upright. Ju Yun, what the hell are you playing at? My point is very clear. Ju Yun looked him in the eye. As the largest individual shareholder, I move to remove you from your position as CEO and initiate a personal liability probe against you. On what grounds? On the grounds that I am a shareholder. Ju Yun looked back at the screen. Everyone, let's vote. On the screen, hands went up one by one. 7 in favor, 2 against, 1 abstention. Motion carried. Ju Yun declared, Chen Mingsen, as of this moment, you are no longer the CEO of Chen's real estate. Chen Mingsen stood there, looking as if the soul had been sucked out of him. Lin Yunan rushed forward. You can't do this. Do you have any idea how much Ming Sen has done for this company, Miss Lin? Ju Yun cut her off. You have no standing here. Lin Yunan's face turned bright red with fury. I stood up. Chen Ming Sen now. Let's talk about the divorce. He snapped his head toward me. You want a divorce? What did you expect? He spat the words through gritted teeth. You want me to walk away with nothing? With nothing, I smiled. You wish. I placed a thick file on the table. This is a valuation report for every design of mine you've usurped over the last 3 years, 12 projects valued at 2 billion yuan. Chen Mingsen's face twitched. This is a handwriting analysis of that exclusive design. Agreement from 3 years ago. The conclusion, forgery. Another document hit the table. This is a screenshot from the surveillance footage of the crash 3 years ago. That's Lin Yunan's car, and those are the people you sent to clean up the scene. Lin Yunan's face went pale. And these are your chat logs every single day for the past 3 years. The final document landed. Chen Mingsen stood there staring at the pile of evidence, unable to utter a word. His lawyer whispered, Mr. Chen, we should go. Go. I looked at him. Chen Mingsen, the moment you walk out that door, a court summons will be on its way. 2 billion in damages. Can you afford that? He looked up at me sharply. What do you want? I looked at him for the first time in 3 years. I saw him for what he truly was, not a tender, devoted husband but a calculating thief. It's simple, I said. A divorce, you walk away with nothing and all assets go to me, in your dreams. Then I'll see you in court, I said, gathering my documents. A 2 billion yuan settlement, even if you sold everything you own. You couldn't pay it. You won't just be leaving with nothing, you'll be leaving in a mountain of debt to me. He stood there, white as a sheet. Lin Yunan lunged at me. Shenmu, don't push it. Hasn't Ming Sen treated you well these past 3 years? He fed you, he clothed you, he let you live like a queen. What more do you want? I looked at her. He fed and clothed me. I laughed. Lin Yunan, do you have any idea how much money I've made in these 3 years? How much my designs have earned for Chen's real estate? He didn't provide for me. I paid for it all with my talent. She fumbled for words. And as for you, I said, looking into her eyes, don't think I've forgotten who caused that crash. Just wait, once I'm done with him, you're next. Her face went completely bloodless. I picked up my bag and headed for the door. Mew mew, Chen Mingsen called after me. I looked back. My lawyer will be in touch. I walked out and stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw Chen Mingsen standing in the hallway, supported by Lin Yunan. Both of them looked absolutely destroyed. The elevator descended. My phone rang. It was Johnson. Muse, how did it go? He lost. Congratulations, Johnson said. Oh, and I have some news. The French Architects Association has decided to hold a solo exhibition for you next month at the Pompadour. I was stunned. Professor, it's what you deserve. Johnson chuckled. Come back, Muse, the world of architecture has been waiting for you. I hung up and looked at my reflection in the elevator's brushed steel. 3 years, I was finally back. The day the divorce papers were delivered to Chen Mingsen, it poured in Paris. I didn't meet him myself. I sent my lawyer. When he returned, he told me Chen had signed, but he had one request. He wanted to see me. I said no. The lawyer added, he says he has something important to tell you in person about Lin Yunan. I was silent for a long time. Fine, where? The Palais Garnier tonight at 8 in his private box. At 7:50 p.m. I stood outside the Opera House. The rain was still falling and the entrance was swamped with cars. Tonight was La Traviata, one of the most classic productions at the Paris Opera. Chen Mingsen's box was on the 3rd floor, directly facing the stage. I pushed the door open. He was sitting alone, dressed in a suit, his hair neatly combed as if nothing had happened. You're here, he said, standing up. Have a seat. I stayed standing. He gave a bitter smile. Shenmu, you can't even stand to sit with me anymore. Just say what you have to say. He looked at me with a complicated gaze. Lin Yunan wants to see you. I blinked. She wants to see me. Yes, she asked me to set this up. She said she has something crucial to tell you. What is it? I don't know. He paused. But she hasn't been herself lately. She's drinking every day, crying, saying she's sorry for what she did to you. I looked into his eyes. Chen Mingsen, do you honestly expect me to believe that? I know you don't believe me. He pulled a piece of paper from his pocket. But she asked me to give you this. I took it. It was a short handwritten note. Shenmu, tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. the alleyway behind Notre Dame. I'll be alone. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Lin Yunan. I tucked the note away. Fine, I'll be there. Chen Mingsen seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Is that all? He looked at me, hesitating. Speak, Mew Mew, I know I messed up, I lied to you for 3 years and I'm sorry, but I truly don't say it. He shut his mouth. I turned to leave the box. His voice followed me from behind. She's pregnant. I stopped. Lin Yunan is pregnant with my child. I turned back. He stood there, his face obscured by the dim lighting. Congratulations. The next afternoon at 3:00 p.m., I arrived at Notre Dame. The rain had stopped, the sun was out, and the square was teeming with tourists. I circled around the cathedral to the alleyway behind it. The alley was narrow, flanked by ancient buildings with vines crawling up the walls. Lin Yunan was standing in the middle of the path, her back to me. I walked toward her, hearing my footsteps. She turned around. I was taken aback. In just 3 days, she had wasted away. Her face was sallow, her eyes red and swollen. Her hair was tied up messily, and her clothes were wrinkled, a far cry from the polished woman she used to be. Shen Mu, she rasped. You came. I stopped 3 paces away. What do you want to say? She looked at me, tears glistening in her eyes. I'm sorry. I was stunned. What did you say? I'm sorry, she repeated. That accident 3 years ago, I did it. I was the one who hit you. I said nothing. But I didn't mean to kill you, she continued. I just wanted you to lose your memory, to forget those designs. Ming Sen needed them. He begged me for help, so he begged you. Yes. He told me himself, if I made you forget, he'd be with me. She let out a hollow laugh, and I believed him. I looked into her eyes. So why are you coming to me now? She pulled a phone from her pocket. Everything is in here, every chat log from the last 3 years and a recording of him planning the accident. I took the phone. Why give this to me? She hung her head, her shoulders beginning to shake. Because he lied to me. What do you mean? He said he loved me. He said he'd be with me and marry me as soon as the divorce was final. But do you know what? You two haven't even divorced yet and he's already hooking up with other women. I remained silent. Shen Mu, do you know why I hated you? She looked up, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't because of the designs, it was because of him. He's in love with you. I froze. He's in love with you, don't you see? Every day before he came home, he'd text me telling me not to bother you too. He remembered every detail, what you wore to dinner, what you said. He only stayed with me to get those blueprints. I stared at her. Then why are you still helping him? Because I love him. She covered her face with her hands. I've loved him since we were kids, but he only ever had eyes for you. Before you showed up, he was so good to me. After you appeared, he changed. The alleyway fell silent for a long time. Lin Yunan, I said, do you know what he told me today? She looked up. He said you're pregnant. Her face went pale instantly. He told you? Yes. She took a step back, leaning against the wall for support. Then do you know, she whispered, that this child belongs to him and his own sister? My brain went numb. What did you say? She looked at me with a complex gaze. Shen Mu. Don't you get it yet? Chen Ming Sen and I are biological siblings. I stood there speechless. His mother was my father's first love. She had him and then married someone else. My father didn't know, and my mother didn't either. They didn't find out until many years later. She gave a bitter laugh. We were together for 3 years and we only found out a few days ago. I stared at her. How do you know? His mother told me. She pulled a piece of paper from her bag. A DNA test report. See for yourself. I took it. The report stated clearly Chen Ming Sen and Lin Yunan are confirmed to be full biological siblings. So, I looked at her. You came here today to tell me you're carrying your own brother's child. She buried her face in her hands and began to sob. Footsteps echoed at the mouth of the alley. Chen Ming Sen walked in. Seeing Lin Yunan in tears, he froze. Are you two done talking? Lin Yunan looked up at him, her eyes filled with conflicting emotions. Ming Sen, you're just in time. She pulled out another paper. This is for you. Chen Ming Sen took it. As he read, his expression shifted violently. What is this? A DNA report, Lin Yunan said. Your mother's, your father's, and mine. His hands began to shake. When did you do this? 3 days ago. Lin Yunan stood up. Ming Sen, we are biological siblings. Chen Ming Sen stood there as if the soul had been sucked out of him. Impossible, that's impossible. Your mother told me herself. Lin Yunan looked at him. She said the year you were born, she hadn't married your father yet. You were the child of another man. That man was my father. The paper slipped from Chen Ming Sen's hand and drifted to the ground. He looked at me. I looked at him. The 3 of us stood in the alley in total silence. After a long while, Lin Yunan spoke. Shen Mu, I'm sorry. I watched her. I didn't come here to beg for your forgiveness. I just wanted to tell you the truth. She wiped away her tears. I'm leaving. She walked toward the exit. Chen Ming-sen chased after her. Yunan, she shook off his hand. Don't touch me. She left. Chen Ming-sen stood rooted to the spot, watching her silhouette disappear. Then he turned to me. Shenmu. I turned as well and walked in the opposite direction. Shenmu, he shouted from behind. Listen to me. I didn't look back. Stepping out of the alley, the sunlight was blinding. I leaned against a wall and took a deep breath. Siblings. They were actually biological siblings. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Ju Yun. The board has officially approved the removal of Chen Ming-sen. Also, the court has accepted your 2 billion compensation case. I replied. Good. Another message arrived from an unknown number. Shenmu, it's Lin Yunan. There's one thing I didn't tell you. I've decided to terminate the pregnancy, but the hospital says I need a family member to sign. Can you come and sign for me? I stared at the message for a long time without moving. The hospital Lin Yunan chose was a private clinic in the 16th arrondissement. When I arrived, she was sitting in the hallway, her face as white as a sheet. You're here. She stood up. You're alone. Who else would be here? She laughed bitterly. Would he dare to show up? I said nothing. She looked at me with a complicated expression. Shenmu, I know you shouldn't be helping me, but I really had no other choice. Why ask me? She lowered her head. Because I have no one else left. The corridor was silent for a few seconds. Let's go, I said. The procedure was quick. 40 minutes. While I waited outside, my phone rang. An unknown number, a local landline. Hello, Ms. Shen, I am the Secretary General of the French Architects Association. I'd like to confirm something with you. What is it? Mr. Chen Ming-sen submitted an appeal to the association today, claiming that you signed an exclusive design agreement 3 years ago stating all your works belong to the Chen Corporation. We wanted to verify this with you. I was stunned. When did he submit this? This morning. I hung up and stood up. Lin Yunan emerged from the operating room supported by a nurse. Her face was terrifyingly pale. What happened? I looked her in the eye. Chen Ming-sen is making a move again. She paused, then smiled. That's just how he is. He never knows when to give up. I helped her to a chair. You rest here. I have something to take care of. Shenmu. She grabbed my arm. I turned around. I'm sorry. I looked at her face. That's the 3rd time you've said that. Then let me say it one more time. She let go. I'm sorry. I looked at her but said nothing. Leaving the hospital, I dialed Ju Yun. Sister Ju, what is Chen Ming-sen up to? I just heard. Ju Yun's voice was heavy. He found a new lawyer and is preparing to appeal the case. Appeal on what grounds? That agreement you signed, Ju Yun said. He claims it's your actual signature and he has a handwriting expert saying it's authentic, not a forgery. But it is a forgery, I know, but he found a new forensic expert who claims the previous results were flawed. I stood at the hospital entrance. The sun was hot, but I felt a chill down my spine. How long is he trying to drag this out? As long as he can, Ju Yun said. As long as the case isn't settled, he can stay at the Chen Corporation. Plus, he's contacting other shareholders trying to overturn the board's decision. I was silent for a few seconds. Sister Ju, there's someone I want to meet. Who? Chen Corporation's biggest competitor, the owner of Hongyuan Real Estate, Chen Mingsen's arch-rival. Ju Yun gasped. What are you planning? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The next day at 3:00 p.m. La Défense Business District. The Paris branch of Hongyuan Real Estate was on the 47th floor of the tallest building. I took the elevator up, and the receptionist led me to a conference room. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows lay the entirety of Paris. With the Eiffel Tower in the distance, the door opened and a man walked in. He was in his 50s, lean, with small but incredibly bright eyes. Ms. Shen. He extended his hand. I am Sun Hongyuan, CEO of Hongyuan Real Estate. I shook his hand. Mr. Sun, it's an honor. He sat across from me. What brings you to see me, Ms. Shen? A partnership. He laughed. Ms. Shen, do you know the nature of my relationship with Chen Ming-sen? I do, arch rivals. Then do you know why I hate him? I looked at him. Because 3 years ago, he stole a project from me. That project was supposed to be mine. Which project? Cloud Tower. My heart skipped a beat. Cloud Tower, the first landmark project I ever designed and the one that made Chen Ming-sen famous overnight. That project should have belonged to Hongyuan, Sun Hongyuan said. I had already negotiated with the government. We were just waiting for the final signature. Then, Chen Ming-sen came out of nowhere with a design that was far superior to mine and snatched it away. He looked at me. I only found out later that the design was yours. I remained silent. Ms. Shin, I know you were deceived by Chen Ming-sen for 3 years. I know you're in a legal battle with him, but I didn't expect you to come to me. Does Mr. Sun want revenge? His eyes narrowed. How? I'll help you take over the Chen Corporation. He paused. You'll help me? Yes, I said. The Chen Corporation's biggest problem right now is design copyright. Once those designs are legally declared mine, their core assets vanish, their stock will plummet. Shareholders will flee and you can buy them out at rock-bottom prices. The Chen Corporation will be yours. The look in his eyes changed. And what do you want? I want Chen Ming-sen ruined. The room went quiet for a moment. Sun Hung-yuan smiled. Ms. Shin, I like your style. He stood up and walked to the window, his back to me. Do you know the current market value of the Chen Corporation? Yes, 5 billion. If you help me take them over, what do I give you? I don't want money, I said. He turned around. Then what do you want? I want you to hire me as the design director of Hung-yuan. He was stunned. Ms. Shin, with your reputation you could go anywhere. But right now I need a platform. I looked at him. A platform that lets me go head to head with Chen Ming-sen. Sun Hung-yuan studied me for a long time, then he smiled. Deal. He walked back and reached out his hand. I shook it. I look forward to working with you. The sun was setting as I left the building. As I waited for a car, my phone rang. It was Chen Ming-sen. I picked up. Shin-mu, did you go to see Sun Hung-yuan? Word travels fast. Are you crazy? He's my enemy. I know. There was a pause on the other end. Shin-mu, what exactly do you want? I looked at the Eiffel Tower in the distance. Chen Ming-sen, don't you want to win your appeal? Don't you want to prove those designs are yours? I'll give you a chance. What do you mean? 1 month from now at the Paris Architecture Biennale there is a design competition. Do you have the guts to compete against me? Silence again. Are you scared? Compete on what? Live prompt, live design. Whoever has the better design wins. If you win, the designs stay yours and I drop the charges. If you lose, you plead guilty and pay me the 2 billion. He was silent for a long time. Chen Ming-sen, are you a coward? I'll do it. I hung up. My car arrived and I got in. The driver asked where to. I stared out the window and gave the name of my hotel. 1 month. Everything would end in 1 month. For the next 2 weeks, I was busy beyond belief. Word of the design competition spread and the entire architectural world was buzzing. Some thought I was crazy to lower myself to compete with a plagiarist. Others were just waiting for the drama, curious to see what Chen Ming-sen could actually produce. I ignored the noise. I was at the firm every morning and back home at 10:00 p.m. Johnson helped me assemble a team of young designers who worked like their lives depended on it. Sun Hung-yuan's funding was in place. The office was ready and even the material suppliers were lined up. I could turn a design into a physical reality in record time. Everything was going smoothly until that morning. I was editing a drawing in my office when a sudden wave of nausea hit me. I rushed to the restroom and threw up. When I came out, my assistant Xiao Liu looked at me, hesitating to speak. Sister Shin, are you? I froze. Am I what? Expecting? My heart skipped a beat. No, it couldn't be. We'd only been together that one night at the hotel. I quickly calculated the dates. My period was nearly 2 months late. That afternoon, I headed straight to the hospital. The doctor glanced at the ultrasound results and offered a warm smile. Congratulations, you're 7 weeks pregnant. I sat there, my mind a complete blank. Ms. Shin, are you alright? I snapped back to reality. Doctor, I want to keep this baby. Of course, the doctor replied. However, your constitution is a bit weak. You'll need plenty of rest during the first trimester. Don't overexert yourself. I walked out of the hospital and stood by the entrance. The sky was a brilliant blue and the sun was shining, but I was in a daze. Chen Ming-sen's child. I'm carrying Chen Ming-sen's child. My phone rang. It was him. I didn't pick up. He called again. Still I ignored it. Finally, a message popped up. Shin-mu, I heard you went to the hospital. Is everything okay? I stared at the screen and said nothing. Back at the office, I tucked the ultrasound photo away and went back to my blueprints. But my mind was occupied by that tiny life. 7 weeks, it already had a heartbeat. That night, lying in bed, I rested my hand on my stomach. What was I doing? I was in the middle of a massive lawsuit to ruin Chen Ming-sen and strip him of 2 billion. Yet I was carrying his flesh and blood. The doctor said an abortion carried risks due to my health. But if I kept it, what would I tell the child one day? What was my father to you? After a long time I made my choice. I would keep the baby, but I would never, ever forgive him. The next day I went to see Ju Yoon. Sister Ju, I need a favor. Name it. Find me a lawyer to draft an agreement regarding a child. I looked her dead in the eye. Chen Mingson's child. Ju-Yun froze. You're pregnant? Yes. Her gaze softened with concern. What's the plan? I'm keeping the baby, but he can never know. Once it's born, the child takes my surname. He will have nothing to do with it. Ju-Yun was silent for a long beat. Shenmu, do you realize what that entails? How will you explain this to the child later? When they're old enough, I'll tell them the truth. She studied me before finally nodding. Fine, I'll help you. The agreement was ready. 3 days later, I signed it alone without a word to Chen Ming-sen. It was settled, or so I thought. A week later, as I was leaving a prenatal checkup, I ran straight into someone. Lin Yunan. She looked haggard, thinner, pale, clutching a bag of medication. We stood face to face at the hospital entrance. Shenmu, she started. What are you doing here? I stayed silent. Her eyes drifted downward, landing on my stomach. Her expression shifted to one of pure shock. You're pregnant. What's it to you? She took a step back, her eyes wide. Is it Mingson's? I gave no answer. She covered her mouth. Shenmu, are you insane? You're actually having his baby. It's none of your business. How can it not be? She grabbed my arm. Do you know who he is? Do you know what he's done? How can you let go? She didn't. Shenmu, listen to me. You can't have this child. It's his blood, and you know exactly what kind of man he is. I shook her off. I don't need your advice on my life. Tears began to stream down her face. Shenmu, I'm sorry. There it was again. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. She wiped her eyes. I just don't want you to live with regret. I looked her in the eye. Lin Yunan, do you know what my biggest regret is? She paused. Meeting Chen Ming-sen. I said coldly. But having this child, that is one thing I won't regret. I turned to leave. Behind me she cried out, Shenmu, if he finds out, he'll use that baby to blackmail you. I didn't look back. She was right, but I already had a countermove. The following day I met Chen Ming-sen. It was our first meeting since the divorce. He looked like a wreck, sunken eyes, unshaven, a shadow of his former self. Shenmu. His eyes lit up when he saw me. You wanted to see me. I sat down across from him. I have something to tell you. What is it? I'm pregnant. He froze. Then a look of desperate hope washed over him. Is it mine? Yes. He stood up, walked around the table and knelt beside me. Shenmu, don't get ahead of yourself. I cut him off. This child has nothing to do with you. His face stiffened. What do you mean? I'm keeping the baby, but they won't carry the Chen name. They will call me mom and they will call you a stranger. The light in his eyes flickered out. Shenmu, you can't do that. I can. That's my child, yours and mine. I countered. But you've lost the right to be a father. He grabbed my hand. Shenmu, I messed up. I know I did. Just give me one more chance. Let's start over. Let go. Ming-sen, let go. He gripped tighter. I stood up and glared at him. If you don't let go this instant, I'm calling the police. Slowly, his hand slumped away. I turned toward the door. Shenmu, he screamed at my back. Just you wait. I'll take you to court for custody. I stopped and looked back over my shoulder. Chen Ming-sen, you know you'll never win. Why not? Because you're a criminal. I walked out as the sound of him smashing things echoed behind me. I didn't flinch. The day before the design competition, an auction was held at Paris City Hall. They were auctioning off the assets of the Chen Corporation's Paris branch. The company was bankrupt. The $2 billion lawsuit had been settled in my favor. Chen Ming-sen had lost everything. The copyrights were mine, and the court demanded every cent of the compensation. He had sold off every asset he owned. And it still wasn't enough. Now, his office building and projects were being liquidated. The hall was packed with architects and opportunistic investors. Chen Ming-sen sat in a corner, head low. The auctioneer began. First item, the La Defense Business District plot. Starting bid 120 million, 130 million, 150 million. The price soared. I waited. 200 million. The room went silent. 200 million was already well above market value. 200 million once, 200 million twice. I raised my paddle. 210 million. All eyes turned to me. Chen Ming-sen looked up, his face pale. 210 million. Any further bids? From the corner a paddle went up. 220 million. It was Sun Hung Yuan. He gave me a knowing nod. We went back and forth until the price hit 280 million. Finally, I made my move. 300 million. The room was deathly quiet. 300 million was at least 50 million over the plot's worth. 300 million once, twice, 3 times, sold. The gavel fell. I stood up and headed to the registration desk. Chen Ming-sen intercepted me. His face flushed with rage. Shenmue, did you do that on purpose? You jacked up the price just to make me pay more in debt. I looked him in the eye. Chen Ming-sen, this is a court-ordered auction. You owe me 2 billion and I intend to collect every penny. He clenched his fists. You're heartless. I learned from the best. As I walked away, he shouted, I won't let you get away with this. Outside, a swarm of reporters surrounded me. Ms. Shin, did you just buy the Chen Corporation's land? What about the competition tomorrow? Suddenly, Chen Ming-sen broke through the crowd. To everyone's shock, he dropped to his knees in front of me. Cameras flashed like lightning. Shenmue, he grabbed the hem of my skirt. I was wrong, please just let me go. I don't care about the money or the company, I just want you back. I looked down at the man who, 3 months ago, was begging me at the airport not to make things difficult for Lin Yunan. Now he was groveling. Chen Ming-sen, get up. No, not until you forgive me. The crowd started whispering. Some even shouted, just give him a chance. I leaned down and whispered into his ear. Chen Ming-sen, do you know I'm carrying your child? He froze. But this child will never call you dad. I stood back up, his hand still gripped my skirt. Let go. He didn't move. Chen Ming-sen, if you don't let go, I'm calling security. His grip finally failed. I got into the car. As we pulled away, the rearview mirror showed him still kneeling, surrounded by the predatory glow of camera flashes. The design competition, the center pompadour. When I took the stage, the applause was deafening. Chen Ming-sen sat in the contestant area, staring at the floor. The rules were simple, a live prompt, 4 hours to complete a concept design. The prompt, rebirth. I smiled. Rebirth, it was the story of my life. 4 hours later, the designs were submitted. The jury consisted of 7 world-class architects, including Johnson. The results were announced immediately. First place, Shenmue. The room stood for a standing ovation. I looked out at the crowd. Chen Ming-sen stood up and began to walk out. Chen Ming-sen, I called out. He stopped and turned. You lost. His face twitched. According to our agreement, you have to make a public confession of your crimes. The room went silent. He stood there like a statue. Then he started laughing. Shenmue, you think you've won. I waited. Do you know why I was brave enough to compete against you? Because I still have 1 card left. He pulled a piece of paper from his pocket. This is your ultrasound. My people took this at the hospital. The crowd gasped. Shenmue, you're carrying my child. Did you think you could hide it when you were designing up there? Did you think about what this child would feel knowing their mother destroyed their father? The silence was suffocating. I looked him in the eye. Are you finished, Chen Ming-sen? He blinked. If you're done, sit down. I pulled a document from my bag. This was handed down by the court yesterday. It concerns custody. What, when did you? A week ago. Based on your history of fraud, intentional harm, and multiple criminal charges, you have been stripped of all parental rights. This child, from the moment of birth, has no legal connection to you. Chen Ming-sen's face went ghost white. Impossible, that can't be. Chen Ming-sen, I said, my voice steady. Is there anything else you'd like to say? His mouth opened but no sound came out. Security approached and escorted him from the hall. Before he disappeared, he shot me one last look of pure bitterness. Shenmue, you'll regret this. I said nothing. As the applause erupted again, I rested my hand on my stomach. I wouldn't regret it, not now, not ever. After the design competition, Chen Ming-sen vanished entirely. Some said he returned home, others claimed he was hiding in the suburbs, too ashamed to show his face. I didn't have time for him. I was too busy preparing for my exhibition. I spent an entire month getting ready for my solo show at the Centre Pompadour. On opening day, the turnout was incredible. The French Minister of Culture, the President of the Architects Association, major media outlets, and all my old friends were there. Johnson stood by my side, beaming with pride. Muse, I knew you'd make a comeback. I smiled. The gallery displayed 10 years of my work, from my earliest sketches to my latest designs. In the center, one wall was dedicated specifically to the projects Chen Ming-sen had plagiarized. I placed the original manuscripts side by side with the finished products. Who had copied whom was clear at a glance. The crowd gathered before that wall, whispering fervently. At 3:00 p.m. in the middle of an interview, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. Shenmue, it's me, Chen Ming-sen. What is it? Something happened to Yunan. I paused. What's wrong with her? A miscarriage, massive hemorrhaging. She's in the hospital. She's not going to make it. I was silent for a few seconds. What does that have to do with me? She needs a transfusion. His voice was trembling. She has a rare blood type and the hospital's blood bank is empty. You're the only match. I stood frozen. Lin Yunan, the woman who hit me with her car 3 years ago, the woman who stole my husband, the woman who caused me to lose my memory for 3 years. Shen Mu, please, he sobbed. I know we've wronged you, but she's innocent. That child, it was mine and hers, but now it's gone. She's dying. Only you can save her. I hung up the phone. Johnson walked over. What's wrong? It's nothing. I said, teacher, I have to step out for a moment. The hospital was in the suburbs. By the time my taxi arrived, dusk was falling. Chen Ming-sen was sitting outside the operating room, head in his hands. He looked up at the sound of my footsteps. You came. I ignored him and asked the nurse, where is the patient? Inside, being resuscitated. We need the blood immediately. Are you the match? Yes. They took me in to draw blood, 400 milliliters. When it was over, I sat in the hallway. Chen Ming-sen sat down beside me. Thank you. I didn't say anything. Shen Mu. I know I don't have the right to say this, but thank you truly. I stared at the operating room doors. How is she? Still fighting. The doctor said if you'd been 10 minutes later she'd be gone. The corridor was silent for a long time before he spoke again. Shen Mu, there's something I never told you. I looked at him. What? He looked up, tears shimmering in his eyes. Lin Yunan is my sister. I know. He was stunned. You know. Yes. How? She told me. He lowered his head and gave a bitter laugh. Then do you know who my mother is? I watched him. My mother, he said, is the woman who abandoned your father all those years ago. My heart stopped. What did you say? He pulled a photo from his pocket. It showed a young woman in a chipao standing before an old house. I recognized that face. It was in my father's old photo album. Her name is Shen Yulon, your father's first love. She got pregnant with me, and your father wanted to marry her, but she refused and ran away. Then your father married your mother and had you. My mind went blank. Before your father died, he sent someone to find my mother for one last meeting. She didn't go, but she told me everything. He looked into my eyes. Shen Mu, we are paternal half-siblings. I stood up and took a step back. Impossible. I had a DNA test done. He handed me a paper. See for yourself. There it was in black and white. Shen Mu and Chen Ming-sen are confirmed to be half-siblings. My hands began to shake. So, I looked at him. You knew from the very beginning. He looked down. Yes, you didn't marry me for my designs. Yes and no. He looked up. The designs were part of it, but the other part, I wanted to see what kind of daughter my father had raised. I was speechless. Shen Mu, I admit I'm a bastard. I lied to you for 3 years and I'm sorry, but one thing was true. I loved you. You knew we were siblings and you still say you loved me. He didn't answer. The operating room door opened and a nurse stepped out. The patient is awake. Chen Ming-sen stood up and started to go in. After a few steps he turned back to me. Shen Mu, I'm sorry. Then he disappeared inside. I stood there staring at the DNA report. My phone rang. It was Ju Yun. Shen Mu, where are you? Something's happened. What is it? Chen Ming-sen's mother came to see me today. She said she's going to expose every secret the Chen family has. The next morning in the plaza before Notre Dame de Paris, I was waiting for Chen Ming-sen's mother. She had asked to meet me, saying she had something to tell me in person. She arrived at 10:00 am sharp. She was in her 60s, well preserved and elegantly dressed. Shen Mu, you look very much like your father. I looked into her eyes. Why? Did you want to see me? She pulled a document from her bag. This is for you. It was Chen Ming-sen's birth certificate. The father's name was blank. When I was pregnant with him, his father didn't want me. She said, looking at the cathedral. I gave birth to him and raised him alone. Later, I married Chen Ming-sen's legal father and changed his surname. I remained silent. Before your father died, he looked for me. I didn't go. Do you know why? Because I was afraid. I had done so many wrong things. Abandoned your father, left my son, married someone else. I was afraid he'd hate me. So why tell me this now? She looked up. Because there is one thing you must know. Chen Ming-sen is not my biological son. I froze. What? He was adopted. She pulled out another document. This is the adoption record. It was clear. Chen Ming-sen, born March 1988, biological parents unknown, adopted by Shen Yulon in May 1988. So, I looked at her. He's not yours. No. Then he and Lin Yunan, they aren't biological siblings either. My head was spinning. Then what about the DNA report? I faked it, she said, looking at me. I had the hospital alter the results. Why? She was silent for a long time. Because I hate him. He was a difficult child and a difficult man. He's hurt so many people. And I didn't want him to be happy, I wanted him to taste what it feels like to lose everything. I stood there unable to find words. Shenmue, do you hate me? I looked at her. Why are you telling me all this? She gave a sad smile. Because I'm old and I'm dying, I don't want to take these secrets to my grave. She turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. 3:00 p.m. The hospital. I pushed open the door to Lin Yunan's room. She was lying there deathly pale. Chen Ming-sen was sitting beside her, holding her hand. They both froze when they saw me. Shenmue, Lin Yunan whispered. I walked to the bedside. Your mother came to see me. Chen Ming-sen looked up. What did she say? She said you aren't her biological son, you were adopted. He stood up, his face drained of color. Impossible. Here are the adoption records. I handed him the file. He read it for a long time before collapsing back into his chair. So Yunan, she's not related to you by blood either. Lin Yunan looked at him. Ming-sen, he covered his face, his shoulders shaking. I sat down nearby. The room was quiet for a long time before he finally looked at me. Shenmue, do you still hate me? Yes, he smiled bitterly. You should. But, I said, I won't seek revenge anymore. Why? I stood up and touched my stomach. Because my baby is coming soon. I don't want them to know their mother as a woman who holds on to grudges. Lin Yunan's eyes filled with tears. Shenmue. I looked at the two of them. Whatever happens between you two, handle it yourselves. It has nothing to do with me anymore. I turned toward the door. Shenmue, Chen Ming-sen called out. I looked back, his eyes were red. Thank you. I said nothing and walked out. 3 months later, Paris by the Seine. I was pushing a stroller along the riverbank. My baby was 3 months old now, a good baby who rarely cried. They had my eyes. My phone rang. It was Johnson. Muse, did you get the invitation for the International Architecture Masters exhibition? I did. Are you coming? I looked down at the child in the stroller. I am. Wonderful, I'll book your flight. I hung up and kept walking. The riverbank was busy with joggers, cyclists, and families. The baby had fallen asleep, their little mouth twitching in a dream. I knelt down to look at their face. Baby, what do you want to be when you grow up? Of course, there was no answer. I smiled and stood up. In the distance, the Eiffel Tower sparkled in the sunlight. My phone rang again, an unknown number. Shenmue, it's me, Chen Ming-sen. Yunan and I are divorced. His voice was calm. I'm going abroad to start over. Congratulations. There was a pause. Is the baby okay? I looked at the stroller. They're fine. That's good. Another silence. Shenmue, there's one thing I wanted to say to you in person. What is it? I'm sorry. I looked at the tower in the distance. You've said that already. One more time, he said. The last time in this life. I waited a beat. Okay, I heard you. He laughed softly. Then I'll hang up. Goodbye. I tucked the phone away and continued my walk. The baby woke up and started to fuss. I picked them up and held them close. What is it, little one? They looked at me with bright, curious eyes. I smiled, looking out over the Seine. The sun was warm and a light breeze blew past. Pigeons took flight nearby. Baby, I whispered, your mother used to have an enemy, but I forgave him. They reached out to grab my face. I caught their tiny hand. Because I have you now. The baby smiled and I smiled back. Walking slowly forward ahead of us, the Seine flowed quietly, and the Paris sun bathed us both in light. The end.